Good evening, everybody. As always, welcome to Wizards Outlook. Got Raymond Lyons, Cardell Dudley Jr. I'm Wilson Tarpey Jr. And look, man, the Wizards, we told you guys what they had to start this week. Pretty much, two away games against the Hawks, the first of which happened a little earlier tonight. The Hawks held on against the Wizards 125-124. Westbrook passed Oscar Robertson tonight with his 182nd career triple-double. So shout out to him for accomplishing this very, very amazing feat. We knew it was going to happen this season. I don't think anyone here is shocked that it happened tonight. He's been on kind of a roll as far as triple doubles have gone since like the All-Star break. As for Washington, a tough loss for them because we know where they are. The other thing is they got the challenge of beating a team that they fell to tonight come Wednesday. Ray, we'll start with you. Just your initial thoughts on this one, then we'll move to Cardell.
Of course, with what they were missing with Bradley Beal being out. So, I was interested to see how they would account for that. And, all things considered, they did a pretty decent job. They made up for his scoring. They scored by committee. They had 6 players in double figures. Westbrook led the way with 28. Rui had 20. Then Neto had 12. Bertans 15, Robin Lopez 18, and Ish Smith 16. So it was a collective effort. They were kind of able to keep pace with that, but the third quarter hurt them real bad. They lost that quarter 35-17. What I was concerned about in the first half was that while they were able to keep pace scoring, the defense wasn't there, and of course, with a guy like Brad out, who's as reliable as it gets as a scorer, you want to kind of stop the bleeding a little earlier. Even though they were scoring a lot and they led going into the half, you want to that is not comforting. Going into halftime with the Hawks pretty much getting everything they wanted, because I'm not as confident as the Wizards others being able to keep pace scoring wise. With the defense being in the position it was in, and that's kind of what showed up in the third quarter. But to their credit, they were able to fight back. They brought up within one a couple times. I just couldn't get over the hump. Those were some of the things we were seeing early in the season when they get into these large deficits, and they spend so much energy coming back that they just don't have anything in the tank to finish the game. But and even still, it came down to the last shot. They got a pretty good look, all things considered. Rush just couldn't get it to go. But, yeah, man, of course, he made history tonight. Congrats to him. Like they said, it's a record that's still for almost 50 years, and it was considered untouchable. But, we've seen what Russ has been doing the past 4 years in regards to these triple doubles. And, man, it's just crazy to watch. But, in regards to this game, kind of the same stuff we've been talking about. The defense has got to get better. They were that pick and roll from the middle of the floor. They just didn't know what to do with it, and Atlanta took full advantage. And when you got a guy like Trae Young in control of the ball with pretty much every option available, whether it's him finishing himself or finding a teammate, that just spells trouble for you. So yeah, man, they get another crack at it on Wednesday. I'm pretty sure they're going to look at some film and see what things they can do differently and adjust. So hopefully they can, they can have a different outcome.
Go ahead, Gardo.
Well, first of all, congrats to Russ, man. Hell of a feat. It's like Raymond said, it's a record that nobody really thought would be broken. Said the last show, I thought LeBron would probably be the one to do it, coming into the league. But for him to do what he's done, all you can do is respect it, man, because that's high level consistency, man, and all around impact. It's hard to do one of those things, to bring it every night or have all around impact. It's hard to just do one of those things consistently. Do both consistently for X amount of years, man. All you can do is just salute them and give props. I felt like the others held them down the first half. You know what I mean? Rui, Neto, and Ish Smith, they came out blazing. I think Rui had about 14 points of 60-11 shooting. Neto, had 10 points of 5 and 9. And Ish did his things off the bench with 9 points and 4-7 shooting. Then I think In the third quarter is where the Wizards lost the game. Um, Trae Young, Bogdanovic, and Collins, they just dominated. They scored 33. The Hawks 35 points in the period. It was just they were just taking turns, just cooking the Wizards, man. The Wizards was on their heels. They was on their heels so much that it messed them up offensively because they were so focused on trying to slow those guys down. They were out of sorts on offense. Reason why they were outscored 35-17. The Wizards, I can't remember the last time they scored below 20 points in a quarter. That's offense hasn't been the Wizards' issue at all this season. It's been the other side of the ball. So for them to score 17, that just tells you how out of sorts they were and whatnot. But in the fourth, they picked it up. Russ started controlling the game. He started orchestrating guys kind of like he did in the first half, getting them in the spots where they could be most effective. Bertans got hot. Guys woke up again. Rui woke up again. Russ started going crazy, and they made it a game. But I really feel like it was lost in the third quarter with those guys going off. And definitely in the fourth, Trae Young he preyed on the Wizards in the pick and roll, especially, I hate to say his name, but Bertans. They literally saw him out. And even though Bertans hit some big threes, it was hard for him to sustain it because they kept attacking him, wearing him down with a point where Brooks kind of had to play offense, defense midway through the fourth quarter just to try to stop them from scoring because Trae Young literally, and shout out to Nate McMillan for, telling them to do that. You could tell he told them to do that. They saw him out only. They saw him out, pick and roll, get the matchup where we can attack him, man. And, once they did, Trae got in a rhythm and he didn't close him out because obviously the Wizards made him run, but he kept the Hawks out in front where it made it tough for the Wizards to finally take the lead. And that's what, big time players do. That's what star players do. That's what all-star players do. They got to figure something out with that because I'm guaranteeing Wednesday that blueprint will still be in the mix with the game plan, which is to attack Bertans. And once you can't let them get in a rhythm. Once they get in a rhythm, they have too many shooters, too much firepower. The only thing wrong with the Hawks is they're young. They're inexperienced right now. But when they get the experience and know how to really win games and stuff, they're going to be dangerous, which we saw a couple years ago when they had Trae and Collins, when they came up in D.C. and gave the Wizards problems. Then we kind of saw it coming. But, that's just, my take from it, man. It was a winnable game. Had the Wizards play better in the third quarter, but it comes down to the Achilles heel, which is consistent defense. They do it in spurts, but they don't do it enough to cover up if they get cold on offense, and that's the problem. You know what I mean? So against another team that has firepower, it's hard for them to beat these type of teams, man. So, and with that being said, they still lost by one because the Hawks, they have their spurts where they don't play defense either. But for them, they have the effort and athleticism to do it. They just young. They still trying to learn. The Wizards have vets. They just don't have the athleticism and stuff to do it, and sometimes the will for some guys to do it. So they have to figure out something, man, because obviously with Brad out, you need Bertans on the floor because he got to spread the floor. Otherwise, they just going to gang up on Russ. You know what I'm saying? Make it rough on him. And if he has an off night, the Wizards definitely ain't winning. You know what I mean? So, but at some point, at the same time, he got to take the challenge, man. Just take it personally and do what he can. Where fine, if I get scored on a couple times, fine, but I can't repeatedly get scored on possession after possession after possession after possession, or the entire defense has to compromise to save you, and then now Bogdanovich and Collins and them getting wide open threes. It's going to be hard to beat the better teams like that, or teams loaded with firepower like the Hawks.
Nah, you're completely right. I don't really have too much on this one. I think you guys kind of cover it all. Ray, you mentioned that mid pick and roll they were struggling with. It was beautiful watching Trae run that with Collins, Capella. They took turns getting big dunks off it. Bogdanovich got loose. I think it was one inbounds play, I think in the third quarter. It was a beautiful play. He comes off, catches it, turns and knocks that three down like Cardell said. That's the tough part because you can't leave anybody over there. You want to at times, but you can't. And Capella's done a good enough job this year where I know he only had 10 tonight, but I think something came up on the screen where he's fourth in the league in points in the paint. So he's made it this year with this group where you can't leave him maybe teams could have tried to in the past or thought about, you can't. He's really making you pay for it now. And John Collins had a spur. I know Cardell was tweeting about it. I was tweeting about it as well. Focus account. He had moments when he was doing whatever he wanted to, whenever he felt like. And like you said, that was the difference. We've been saying since they got Gafford. It's great that Washington got one of those. The other ones on the shelf. Atlanta rolled out 3 of those things tonight. And what is it, Onyewu, the baby? He's not where the other two are, but again, they had a third one to roll out there, and he's still impacting.
They got 4. The kid from William and Mary, Nathan Knight, and he didn't even play tonight. You know what I mean? So, Congo, They got that. That's what I'm saying. That's what I've been screaming about. Like, y'all don't see what these other teams doing for the past few years. They have athleticism up front. They got some bigs that can run and jump. And the thing they got, not to cut short, the thing they got the Trey and them going in the third, when he's running those pick and rolls, they were also back screen on the other side of the floor where Capella and Collins was rolling to the basket. So Bertans had no choice to be on the island, dog. Like it's sick with the sets they were doing. Like we gonna get a mismatch somewhere. We gonna get something open. That's what it was. So pick your poison. And so the Wizards start ganging up, like you said, Collins and them was having their way in the first half. So they started ganging the paint, like y'all not gonna get these lobs and stuff. That's fine, Trey Lake, fine. This is what I really wanted.
Right.
Let's see if Bertans can defend me 1-on-1. And I mean, you know what I'm saying? So it's tough, man. It's tough. It's tough.
Like it's a really tough group, and that's the thing where tonight, I don't know that you can count on every one of the others that showed up tonight for Washington to replicate that performance, like that exact performance again on Wednesday, which is why this loss is tough. And like you mentioned, that offensive defensive substitution, we saw that late. One of the things that hurt was I don't think Bertans was on the floor for that last shot that Russ took because it was going offense defense with him and Hutchinson.
Yeah.
So Bertans wasn't on the floor. And if everyone saw, I'm sorry, I can't remember the video back up. Yeah, three.
Mm-hmm.
He cleared up the floor. There was a wall there, and they weren't concerned about anything else. Like nobody's gonna hurt us from 3. Brad ain't out here. Bertans on the bench. If you want Hutchinson to shoot the 3, I mean, we cool with like they were fine with living with every other option. But Russell Westbrook, you're not driving to this basket.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're not doing. And again, that offense, and that was a tough place. I see folks being on both sides there. Like for Brooks, if you call a timeout and then you do get Bertans in, which is cool, but then you also call a timeout, which gives Atlanta time to do what they need to do. And again, they're the ones with more athleticism and length. Like, and they did a good job of really where, especially with Brad not being out there, you couldn't even really pick on Trey the way maybe you would want to. At times, it was a tough loss for them. And then this loss tonight put the Wizards a half game behind the Pacers.
Yeah,
so they're back in the 10th spot.
Because they won. They beat the Cavs. And see, this is what I was saying, man. It's like, look, man. I don't think Chicago can cash on. It's not enough games, but home court. You know what I mean? It's just, even though they got the Pacers number, but still home court. You know what I'm saying? That's tough. You know what I mean? So, yeah, they got their work cut off on them. Oh, before you get started, go to the questions. I heard the legend Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas, post game, and he was critical of the front offices of all the teams that Russell Westbrook has played for. Saying that they haven't put enough talent around him to match what he brings as a value as a player, all around with his intensity, his all-around play and whatnot. I'm personally exclude Washington from this because he just got here. You know what I mean? He can't. You know what I mean? That's not even fair. But obviously, I think he played in Houston for 1 year. So what can you say about that? So really, it's mostly on OKC or whatnot. But they had top tier talent throughout his run. But just what are your thoughts? Do you agree with him saying that he didn't have the pieces around him? Start with you, Raymond.
I mean, you just laid it out. Like he's here. This is his first season in Washington. Last year was his only season in Houston, and the bulk of his career was spent at Oklahoma City. And we know the type of talent that came through there. I mean, he had the biggest cheat code in the game for until 2016. And then after that, it was a lull, so to speak, but it still wasn't ever a place where like they were considered a bottom feeder. Like they were always in playoff contention, you know, and they had a lot of guys who ended up becoming, you know, all-star caliber players, but they were young when they were there, but they were still talented, like Oladipo and Sabonis and guys like that. So yeah, I feel like the comment was off base. And then he had Paul George and Melo as well. So I mean, I don't know how we're judging talent, but by any measure that I've ever judged it, Russ had a wealth of talent around him, you know. So I don't think that's fair criticism of the OKC front office, and even if you want to talk about Houston, they were a talented team as well, playoff team. He had talent around him, man. It's undeniable at this point. So yeah, I'm curious to know what the reasoning was for Isaiah making those comments, because you know, from where I sent, just doesn't hold any weight.
Wilson.
Yeah, my bad. I was on Basketball Reference just looking at stuff to make sure I wasn't tripping. Yeah, I don't agree at all. I get for like some players you could bring this up. I think this is one of those rare cases where it does not apply in the least bit. Because technically, yeah, I'll probably have to go look at the record, but I'm going to take a wild guess. And I'll check it in a minute. This is probably the worst team record-wise he's ever been on in his career. And this is he's 32 years old. This is what, the year 13 or 14? So this, like, record-wise, this is the worst. I'm going to double check, but
I think maybe the early years it was bad.
Okay, so
when he was a rookie.
Okay.
Yeah, when he was a rookie, I think it was bad.
Okay, so I will concede that, but then again, I would say the talent issue that was there, the talent that was there with them when they were all young, like it's crazy talent. Like bless Zeke's heart. I don't agree with this statement. We've seen firsthand players go to war with far less help from their front offices. So I don't like. Again, I know, you know, the era and time we're in. Like, I think we should just keep it in proper perspective. This is a hell of an accomplishment for Russell Westbrook, hell of an accomplishment for the league. And that's that. Let's see how many he could get as his career continues. And that's that. But I think this is one of those rare cases where you that's not the place you go with that at all. And like you said, it's too early for the Washington thing, because it wasn't like this was some master plan and you knew you were getting them. You started moving pieces all around before he got there, whatever, all that other stuff. So we have to at least wait till next year to see what they add and take away and all that other stuff. So excluding Washington, yeah, I don't get what he's talking about. So that's all I got.
And then throwing in, they also had a young all-star with him, Domantas Sabonis, that plays for the Pacers. He was on the OKC at one time. So yeah, he had his fair share of talent, man. But I just want to touch on that because I want to make sure I wasn't tripping.
I guess we'll all be tripping together off that one if we wrong.
Well, you know the Coke gonna be all up in the comments looking at us crazy. So you know how they are.
And I get that, and it sounds good, but y'all just take the day, appreciate what it is, leave it alone. Just, Lord, leave it alone. Like sometimes, like celebrate things in a vacuum. There's literally nothing wrong with that. Because sometimes you get so busy trying to put it up to other stuff, and then it dulls things. Leave this alone in this vacuum. It is tremendous. Leave it alone. Keep it right there. Don't bring no other players in this. This is what this man did. This is what this man did. It's part of his legacy and his career. It's never going to be. It'll always be synonymous when you bring up Westbrook. This comes with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So to me, that is amazing. Whatever happens, whether he wins one, doesn't win one, whatever, for you to end up where that's something you got in your bag, we already know we're going to see you, and that and you're going to be enshrined. That's a given. Like, bro, just celebrate this in a vacuum. And this is just me messaging to some of y'all in these comments that they're going to get to in a little bit. Just in a vacuum, just celebrate it. Somebody did comment. This is from Papa Zero. I feel Brooks should have called a timeout, man. This team isn't built for those situations, in my opinion. I feel you, and I guess like the tough part is what if you did call a timeout and
They're
it
set.
might have hurt more if they're set and you didn't get a shot up. So it's like kind of
'cause-
damned if you do, damned if you don't, because the problem remains 3 ain't on the court. That changes how all that is in the end of the game situation.
And then they locked the Wizards up with 17 points in the third quarter. All right then.
Let
So-
that.
So
Sometimes
now
the
you
best individuals-
giving them time just to gang up on Russ because I'm like, look, if somebody else beat me, hey, power to you, but he ain't beat me. He ain't beat me.
Mm.
And even without the timeout, clearly that was discussed, or it was just clearly from a mental standpoint. Everyone on Atlanta was on the same page. It won't be
Matter of fact,
used.
how much time did they have left when Gafford got the rebound?
Oh boy. Give me a second.
Was it like 4 seconds?
I got you. Give me a second. I'm up.
3.9 seconds.
3.9. Boy. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know which. Yeah. Hold on. All right. When Gafford got it, it was 7.9. 7.9 when he got the strip and secured the ball, gave it to Russ, and then Russ put that shot up with 3.1 left on the clock.
Yeah, because Trey got it. I'm not mad at that, man, because you got to keep, I mean, because I heard Brooks saying go. He was like, go. I'm not mad at that because he was going to have a mismatch. The problem was the Hawks all ran to Russ. Like I said, they're like, he's not, man.
Okay,
You're going to hit a miracle shot.
Give me 1 second. We'll give y'all's former Maryland Terp a little love right here. Porter was the first one back, pointing to everyone else. Russ, I'm trying to get this up so y'all can see it. Young boy was definitely the first one back. Where is this at?
Man, he was guarding Russ most of the night, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is hilarious.
And Russ a killer anyway, man. We all knew he was gonna take the shot.
Yeah.
Let's stop playing, man.
This is where it was at right here. Y'all see where Horter is and telling his folks?
Yeah. Yep, he back in the paint. He back, just swung.
Had he not
he back there with Rui.
But yeah, he took away the early transition basket, which Russ had been killing him. Russ had been killing throwing that quick pass ahead to Rui, to him and Hutchinson. So I'm trying to see where my bad. I'm trying to see where Porter was when the ball went up. How early did he? Oh yeah, he started running with Rui. All right, here's Porter. Y'all see him?
Behind. Behind.
Yeah. So he's out of frame. Rui just started running.
And you see Capella sprinting. He got look. They wasn't having the Collins coming to him.
It's 4.
Look, put that wall up, like, look here, you're going to hit America, baby. You're going to hit this three.
And you know how tough a pass would have been to get it to here, to Hutchinson with Capella and that 7'5" wingspan. Chandler here, you got Collins back here. I was I just want to put that up for a second. So while we were talking about it, y'all can see we're not crazy. That's tough.
Yeah, that's the best he could have did in that situation, man.
That's tough.
With that little time.
Like you said, you call a timeout, everybody's set. I'm gonna take a wild guess. They probably take Trey off the floor. Now you add another plus defender with that little bit of time left. Because what's it called? DeAndre Hunter's not out there right now. Like, yeah. You call a timeout, you come back out, and the smallest person on the court is Horter at 6'7".
Good luck.
Yeah. So
like possibly just again, like we always like to talk through things, but before we get to the comments tonight, as always, what's up? And y'all were acting up in the comments from the other day too. Just for the record. My little tweet says I get to say it and fall back, but man, y'all, it is always enjoyable. Thank you for the entertainment. We truly appreciate it. It is definitely fun. But before we get to the comments, just a quick word from our partner over at Ooze and Oz. Get over to oozeandoz.com, y'all. It's that simple. We've been showing you guys some of the latest deals they've been having. It's great food, You got 2 locations, Georgia Avenue, excuse me, Georgia Avenue and then U Street. So you guys see reasonodds.com is that easy. Get over there, check it out, and they'll happily talk shop with you too. So get over there. All right, folks, let's get to these comments. Oh man, Ray, you're not even getting a choice this week. Well, today we're just jumping in there and getting out of it. So here you go, Ray. From Ball Jr., Bulls don't want Gafford. They got Vucevic and Tice and Thad Young. They don't need him. That's why they traded him. The Pacers alone got 3 Raul Netos. Aaron Holiday, McConnell, and Sumner all on the same level as Neto. And he's starting for the Wizards. Them guys battling for minutes behind Brogdon.
What is this? What's the point of this comment?
Go ahead, Carter.
Nah, it was in relation to, I think he said last game that the Wizards roster, they don't have anything, like they got the worst roster in the league, and we pointed out different teams that have worse rosters. You know what I mean? So I think he just chose the Bulls to speak on it. Since we talked about Gafford or whatnot, the Bulls messing up and letting Gafford go.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they'd use him. Now seeing what he's able to do, I think any team would take him, to be perfectly honest. I mean, he's a young guy, but he's super athletic and he's got a lot of upside. Vucevic, it's obvious the work he's put in, but Tyson, Thad Young, I can't roll with you on that one, player. The Pacers alone got 3 Raul Netos. I mean, look here. What Neto brings to the Wizards, he's in the right place. He's and he's able to flourish there. I think Cardell pointed out in the last episode he had a couple stops before he got here, and I'm pretty sure like nobody really knew how talented he was because the opportunity wasn't there. So, we can compare rosters all day, but last time I checked, the Wizards are ahead of the Bulls in the standings, and they're right there with the Pacers. So, at worst, the roster's comparable. So, I mean, I don't know why we continue to hop on this. We've stated the whole time the Wizards don't have the best roster. We know that, but they also don't have the worst. So, yeah, that's just my 2 cents. I'll leave the GM skills to Ball Jr.
Here you go, Cardell. Y'all, man, could y'all stop writing books, please? It's late when we get on here. I'm tired. Y'all trying to make me the 3rd member on here with glasses. Y'all got to give me time, man. You do know KD had the lowest 3-point percentage in the OKC series, right? Oh, Lord. And the OKC had seasons where they didn't compete for a title because of injuries. KD and Russ played some part of that series, and that dude comment had nothing to do with Russ. He used to attack him, chill out. KD admitted why he left because it was him and Russ, and the rest were not that good. Plus, the coach was bad. They barely had Harden that long, and they were young. Then your comment wouldn't be a problem if you didn't attack one player for a team's loss. For someone who says people need to check their history, you got to take your own advice on this one. Westbrook passed the ball to KD all the time in the clutch. This Sigma, he didn't. It's false. Harden was the closer at first, then he left, and KD was the guy. And Russ got him the ball, then you make it seem like Russ don't give Beal the ball enough where he's coming from. And I didn't forget that you praised Stockton like a god, like he ain't make bad passes and shots in Game 6, which caused them to lose the finals. You do not want to do this debate thing because I got all the facts. I'm just happy I'm old, man.
Crazy, right? All right. So KD had a low 3-point percentage in the OK series, right? Again, I guess against the Warriors when they lost to the Warriors. All right, great, but he still shot 50%. And it ain't like we not about hop on Russ. I'm not gonna attack Russ. KD was the efficient man. This Russ night, so I'm not even getting on that. Congrats to Russ once again. OKC had seasons where they didn't compete for a title because of the injuries. Man, that came out to stop it. KD and Russ played part of that series, and that dude comment had nothing to do with Russ. You used to attack him Chill out, huh? What is he? Well, you said tackle. All right.
I don't know.
Oh, KD admitted why he left. Just because they say something in public don't mean that's true behind the scenes. He's just trying to get everybody off the off the story and move on. You know, like yeah, believe what you want to believe in that one. Because him and Russ and the rest were not that good. It was him and Russ, and the rest were not that good. What do you mean they weren't that good? They were up 3-1 on the Warriors. What are you talking about? And the coach was bad. Scott Brooks was bad. They were competing for championships in Western Conference Finals. Uh, you talk about facts, and those are facts. So how you gonna say that's not good? All right, they barely had Harden that long. They had him for 3 years. That's substantial. He was sixth man of the year. And here's some facts for you. Since you knocking like his impact wasn't that pivotal, I'll go to Kobe. Kobe said even though he was coming off the bench, James wasn't the reason we lost the series to the Thunder in 2012. Russell and KD in the star five, we could deal with those guys. I'm sure the coach after the conference would say Bean was hating. Um, but then you go to the bench and James was just coming in. We didn't have anyone who could match up with him in the full quarter when they all played at the same time. We were always at a disadvantage. He was key to that team. James always had an innate ability to read pick and roll situations. He could get in the paint and draw fouls. He could shoot. He could use his master bully lighter guards. Ultimately, I don't think Oklahoma realized exactly what they had. I knew, but I don't think they did. Now, this is the biggest place of all time, Kobe, and he literally saying we weren't really tripping off Russ and KD. Harden was the one we couldn't deal with coming off the bench. And yeah, you're going to try to diminish that. When I said clearly he was the point guard doing that run, and he was the one closing games at point guard because he made better decisions at that time than Russell Westbrook. This is not opinion. This is not me attacking Russ. These are facts. Go back and look at the film. That's what I'm talking about. Study your history. All right. Scott Brooks put the ball in his hands, and it worked because they got to the finals. They just ran up against a more experienced, loaded Miami Heat team. It is what it is. For someone who says they need to check their history, I already answered that. Westbrook passed KD the ball all the time. Just because I pass you the ball all the time don't mean it's in rhythm and it's the right pass, man. I mean, you must have not played a lot of basketball, though. If you passing the ball to me and the doubles right next to me, what good is that going to do? So, it is what it is. Harden was the closer at first, then he left, and KD was the guy. No, KD was the closer. Harden was the facilitator. Kobe just said that. I don't know what you were watching, but it's clear you wasn't watching live. Then you make it seem like Russ don't get Bill the ball enough. Where is this coming from? I said during 60-point games when Bill was hot, give him the ball to close out the game because he's hot. I didn't say he don't give him the ball enough. And then to make matters worse, half the season he wasn't even playing most of the game because he wasn't even playing back to backs to be on the floor. So that only makes sense for me to say he wasn't giving them the ball. See, you just making stuff up. And I didn't forget that she praised Stockton like a god, like he didn't make bad passes and shots in Game 6, which caused him to lose the finals game. You do not want to do this debate thing because I got all the facts. Well, the facts is in Game 6, since you brought that up, he only had 3 turnovers. He only had 3 turnovers in that hard-fought defensive battle in Game 6. He only had 3 turnovers, and you said he ain't make bad passes. He ain't made bad passes and shots in Game 6. In Game 6, he hit the clutch 3, put him up 2. Then Mike did was. What are you talking about? He hit that one on a minute left, clutch 3, and he only had 3 turnovers, which by today's standards, I mean, damn. I mean, what you want to say? That's by today's standards, but that's bad for him. And you say you talk about Stockton like he's a god. He leads that. He got the all-time mark in assists and steals. What are you talking about here? Like, am I be crazy, man? Y'all making me feel like I'm really tripping and stuff like that. You want to speak up facts, but those are the facts. I'm not really understanding where y'all coming from with this. Y'all got to learn how to chill, man. Y'all too emotional for me. Where you can't say nothing about Russell Westbrook. If you say his name, you hate him. I thought the LeBron quote was bad. Y'all make it worse. I'm starting to think y'all worse, man. Russell Westbrook is a great player. He will be in the Hall of Fame. I don't understand what you want to say. He led the league like 8 times in assists straight. What more do you want from? What more do you want? He's one of the greatest point guards to ever play the game. hell yeah, he's a damn point guard or whatever you said and all that. Yes, it's proven. And I think what for his career addition, and he has the all-time assists. And yet y'all get on us for wondering why we look at Russ and sometimes he be like, look, man, those 7-8 turnovers ain't cutting it. But we hating on him. So those are some facts for your ass, man. That would be the last time your ass would definitely talk on here because you just said some stupid shit. Let's move on, Wilson.
It's for you, right? Oh yeah, I gotta stop typing so much. David Confield. If the Wizards played like this in the beginning, they would have been a 4-7 seed instead. I believe they will be the 8th seed. Russell Westbrook may have had the lowest free throw percentage of his career, but when it comes to clutch time, he will hit his free throws. Appreciate legends while you have the opportunity to see one. And for real, some of these teams snubbed Russ outright, declaring him a washed-up player this season. The man is a living legend. I love seeing him on my home team in DC, especially with Beal proving his worth. And the fact that Beal could have had 60 points if he played overtime. And Westbrook, my goodness, his energy was out of this world.
If the Wizards had been playing like this in the beginning, they would have been a 4-7 seed. That's a pretty wide range there, buddy. But yeah, I mean, we've been saying all along it was some games they let get away. I'm not sure if it was enough to bump them up that high in the standings, but their record would definitely be better. If they were as consistent as they've been recently. Russell Westbrook may have had the lowest free throw percentage of his career, but when it comes to clutch time, he will hit his free throws. I mean, his shooting percentages, his free throw percentage is unacceptable for especially for a point guard. And the only free throws that matter aren't clutch free throws. If you take care of your business throughout the course of the game, maybe you don't even come down to having to be clutch. So yeah, that's something he's admitted. His free throw percentage needs to improve this season. But yeah, appreciate legends while you have the opportunity to see one. I mean, I think we've appreciated him a lot. We continuously say he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. And given what he's accomplished tonight, I mean, I'm just unsure of what people want in terms of appreciation and giving accolades and all that stuff. Like, I think people assume that, because you criticize or point out flaws, that negates the positive that you say about somebody. Two things can be true at the same time. He can have a turnover issue and he can also be a first ballot Hall of Famer. They're not mutually exclusive. But yeah, I really don't know what's going on with the rest of this comment, but yeah, man, the Wizards they've had a rough go at it this season. Some things have been self-inflicted, some have been out of their control, like the injuries and the battle with COVID and all that. But yeah, man, they are where they are. It's going to hopefully Wednesday is the last game that Brad misses, because it's going to be there's just going to be a dogfight coming down this last week and a half of the season.
That is no lie, sir. We're back. When I say the worst roster in the league, I mean top to bottom, excluding Bill and Russ. Let's see. The Rockets got the worst record in the West. Let's take away the top two players on their team. Wall and Wood. Do the Wizards have a Kevin Porter and a Olynyk, Eric Gordon, who hasn't really been playing this year? House, Kenyon Martin Jr., Tate, all them guys pretty much better than every. Do I have to finish reading this? Every role player in the Wizards and the worst team in the West. Detroit's the worst team in the East. Take away Grant and Plumlee. Well, them in Detroit might be, even they ain't really got anybody either than Bay and Frank Jackson, Stewart, and Gafford. Bay and Frank Jackson. Okay, Bay, Frank, Jackson, Stewart, Gafford, all kind of even. Ellington and Bertans just shooters, but you get the point. All right, only two more. Y'all are hurting me tonight.
Well, you forgot Rui. I mean, I love Kevin Porter, but it's one thing to put up numbers on a bad team. You know what I'm saying? That's tanking, and they're just letting you rock out. You know, Rui. I think Rui's a better player than all these guys right now. Eric Gordon stays injured, so you can't say he's better than, I guess. Um, I mean, who was you comparing to him with Neto Rowe or something like that? You can't say he's better than that because he's hurt. You say, oh, Lennox is pretty much better than all the bigs. I I don't know. I don't know about that. You know, he might have skill as far as shooting the ball, but impact wise, is he better? I don't know. Kenya Moore is young, but he got potential, highly athletic guy, whatever. But you could say the same about Chandler Hutchinson. Tate, another one, role player. You say Detroit, you take him off, you take Brandon Plumlee off. Well, they ain't really got nobody either, other than Bay. He's a rookie, so you can't even put him above a vet. He's figuring it out. Frank Jackson, the same boat. He was hurt. He's trying to figure it out. Stu is a rookie. He's trying to figure it out. Gafford kind of even. Listen, you also got to take into account that these guys play different roles for different situations based on where their team is at. All I know is the Wizards are winning. They will be competing in some type of postseason format. The rest of these teams will be at the crib watching. So how can you put those guys, how can you put those guys above these guys who've been putting in work to get them in a winning way? You can't just it ain't just all Russ and Bill. Somebody else had to make a damn shot and get a stop or something. You make a pass or something. It ain't just those two. So yeah, I don't. This not making any sense, man. Y'all, it is what it is, man. But fans will be fans, man.
Here you go, Ray. Your last one of the evening, man. I am happy these are the last two. LD's Brick Workshop. That's terrible. Westbrook and Bill need major assistance because they're attempting to do everything on their own. Shaking my head.
We need some context on these comments, man, because I'm unsure what he's talking about, but I mean, I think other people are contributing. I mean, how many 20-point games has Neto had in a row right now? Lopez has been consistent over these last few weeks. We've been talking about Gafford's impact since the trade. So yeah, man, they're getting contributions from pretty much the entire roster. We just saw Rui have a 20-point game tonight. So yeah, I'm unsure of what. I don't think we're watching the same games, man, because some of the comments just don't really line up with what's happening on the court.
I mean, I would say the other thing, and I know y'all don't always get everything when we try to say it, or maybe it gets taken out of context because the internet. But one of the things is the problem is right now is that there's a gap in literally just reps and experience between their top two players and the rest of the roster. That's the main issue in Washington. I'm sure we'd be having a different discussion. Thank you.
8 players 24 younger, dog. It's 8 players 24 younger on the Wizards, man.
What do you want them to do? And not to be not. I heard you. So you mentioned Detroit. It's kind of the same thing in Detroit. They got a bunch of young players that are playing minutes. Sadiq Bey's having a really good rookie year, but he's one of many young players on a roster. Let's go over to Houston. You take Eric Gordon, John Wall out the equation, and everybody else they shipped off. Stupid young roster. Christian Wood just finally got an extended opportunity to have big opportunity to have an extended role. And this is 4 years in for him. It takes all this stuff takes time. I think everybody gets excited about where everything's going. Y'all want everything so quick, it's a process. But that's more of the discussion with the Wizards is how quickly can you speed up to close the gap for the young dudes while the two lead dogs are still in their prime. That's the discussion. It's not that the young dudes are bad. They got to get through their being young stuff. Look at the Hawks. Cardell mentioned it earlier this evening. Trey and John a few years ago, they looked like they were going through young player stuff. Right now, they added some more stuff, but both of them, I think for both of them, and I think all of us here, like, safe to say, they know who they are going forward in this league. Like, they know who they are, what they bring to the table. But that wasn't the case as soon as they rolled into the league as rookies. Like, y'all just want everything so quick. Like, it literally does take times. And especially when you want someone, you're asking a rookie, first they got to get comfortable with their first role. Then you got to grow in that role. Then hope that your role expands. Like, it's a whole process to it. And y'all just want to hop, skip, and jump past all of it. But again, it's the internet, so I know it's, the message won't be received. It's fine. All right. Last one, Eric Reeves, the defense and turnovers. Thank you for standing in here, Mr. Reeves. The defense and turnovers continue to be a problem. I always said if the Wizards can at least play 2.5 quarters of defense, games like this wouldn't exist. They have the capability, so it's frustrating to see the defensive lapses they continuously have. Bertans still is looking lost on switches and continues to be food. The switches are just horrendous. I say this again, it's playoff time, and I don't see playoff basketball from the Wizards. They're pulling out games, but if they continue to play defense the way they are and turn the ball over at a high percentage against good playoff teams, they're going to get their heads cracked. All in all, they pulled it out.
Eric. Defensively, you were on point because it continued to tonight. You know what I mean? Turnovers wise, they took care of the ball. They only had 9 as a team, so that was great. But so did the Hawks. They only turned it over 12, so neither team really gave each other an advantage as far as trying to beat them. But defensively, like I said, they had spurts where they locked down, they played sound defense, but those are few and far between. Most of the game, I mean, you saw tonight. I know this is from the previous game, but you saw tonight. It continued. Atlanta had 35 in the third. Trae Young, Collins, and Bogdanovich. And when I say they got whatever they wanted, they got whatever they wanted. They were just taking turns. And you on the road, it's already tough as is. You just can't have that, man. You can't have 3 of those players just going off on you. It's tough. It's tough to beat any team in the league when that happens. So, but this is an issue that's been going on throughout the season, man. So, at some point, defensively, man, it's about pride. These guys are pros. They got coaches, high-level coaches and stuff. I'm pretty sure has shown the film and went over reps as far as how to play proper defense and whatnot. It's just on them to want to, as a team. You got certain guys that do it, but I'm talking about as a unit. It's on them to take pride in it and get it done. Because I'm telling you now, once it really officially becomes playoff mode, like for real, if you don't play defense, you're going home quick.
Yeah, and again, this is things we've been saying all year long. And they get a day off, and then they're still in Atlanta because they're facing the Hawks for round 2. And we saw how the repercussions from the loss tonight as how they fell in the standings. And we told you guys how it's going to be touch and go for the rest of the way, until the end of the regular season, and why the W's matter because you can't control what other teams do any other night. The Pacers got to win. They lost. Who knows what things are going to look like come Wednesday. And, one, like Cardell, what you mentioned, one of the biggest things in this one, you're going to have to get stops because tonight you got out-rebounded. I don't know how much that's going to change come Wednesday. You have to get stops. Like, you have to get them. Otherwise, it will be back here saying the same old things we've been saying. Not too much of a shock there. And, again, just keep in mind with Atlanta, we saw tonight, they're a really good free throw shooting team. So Washington has to do a better job of playing defense without fouling because it caught up to them at times at night. You're putting whoever you put on the line at night, they were knocking down free throws. Literally just didn't matter. You guys had anything else to add before we close this one out?
No.
All right. So for Ray, Cardell, and myself, y'all have a good evening. We will see you Wednesday for Wizards Outlook following Washington, Atlanta round 2. And then tomorrow night, 8 p.m. to Focus TV. As always, y'all have a good one.